Will this be helpful? Tell me if you can hear me now. Guys, all right. Tell me, guys, my viewers from YouTube and Facebook, let me know if you can hear me, okay? All right. No, still cannot hear. Ay. All right. Well, as I'm trying to figure out what we're gonna do, you know, with regard to YouTube and Facebook, I am going to tell you something for my viewers from TikTok. Thank you, guys. This is my first live, actually my second live. I had the first one a couple of months ago, and I have not been active for the past couple of weeks because I have not been feeling well. And yesterday, I actually ended up in the ER, emergency room. And thank you very much, guys, for all of you who sent me nice wishes and prayers. It really helped. I can tell you it's really helped because today I'm feeling great. So thank you very much. And let's start. I have a note that people can hear me, and we are going on. All right, so we're going to talk about what's going to happen with November elections. As you are aware, November 8th is our election day, and we're going to be choosing our Democrats, or we're going to be choosing Republicans. Basically, it's a midterm elections is a signal as to what potentially may happen in 2024, right? Who's going to win? And basically, as you have seen, Democrats were running for 2020 elections. One of the main points they were making that they will promote immigration reform. However, to date, even though we do see some changes in the way USCIS operates, in the way we process cases, especially in courts, however, nothing has changed in terms of comprehensive immigration reform, right? And now we're trying to guess as to what's going to happen for or after November elections. So I had a couple of my videos about this already, and of course I remained hopeful, but here I have to tell you that this is what experts are saying. And my YouTube viewers can see it's a screenshot from the latest news. And the analysts are basically saying that they don't expect significant changes in immigration policy after the midterms. Unfortunately, they believe that Democrats are too afraid to move forward with immigration reform. And Republicans, of course, they have this attitude that they do not want immigration reform, right? The main argument is that they do not want to, to be good to people who were bad and crossed the border or overstayed. So that's their main argument. Basically, some sort of a moral argument. But for me, of course, there is nothing moral in holding people without status. That's my point of view. You may have a different point of view. That's fine. But I believe that if a person has lived in the United States and contributed for 10 years at least, they should have ability to somehow fix their status. That's, of course, my view. As I said, maybe you have a different one. That's fine. All right. So as you see, analysts believe that nothing will be done. I though think that something will be done, only not now, but by 2024. This is my prediction. I do believe that Democrats have power and ability to change something, and I believe that they will do this. They will do this, but they will do it a little bit later. So that's what I think. Please comment. Let me know what do you think, what you believe is going to happen. And yes, I forgot to say, as always, let me know where you're watching from and like and share my video. You know, today we have amazing, absolutely amazing, absolutely amazing streamware. When you use the stream software, it tells you everything. It tells you what you need to remind to your viewers and so on and so forth. So it's amazing. What can I say? All right. So this is what I think is going to happen, guys. You let me know what you believe is going to happen. Of course, why it's important for us? It's important because when we plan our immigration case, when immigration lawyers um, encouraging or consulting people, when we trying to plan as to how we're going to be handling a person's case, we need to take into consideration person's chances for winning their case and whether they need to choose a safer route or they should be filing for something. For example, if I believe that a more conservative side is going to come to power shortly, I would not be advising a person to take a step where I believe they will be or have a chance to be placed in removal proceedings, right? If they lose. So that's why, that's one of the relevant points. Some people, for example, unfortunately, do not have any ways to fix their status without immigration reform. So it's also helpful for them to figure out what is it that they're going to do, where they will be planning, building their future, right? So for that reason, I stay on top of the immigration news, and I hope you do too. All right, and this is what I wanted to tell you. So if I had to advise someone at this moment, I would say that right now we would choose very safe, very conservative ways to fix someone's status. It means I would not tell somebody who is not in immigration proceedings to take a chance and place themselves in removal proceedings to have an opportunity to file for cancellation of removal. I usually do not do that unless there is very good chance and extremely strong case. And again, one federal judge once told me that even the best immigration, even the best, strongest case has 80% chance of winning. You understand me? It came from a judge on the federal bench, so I think they know like nobody else, right? So you have to understand that there is always a chance that you may lose, and you have to be prepared for that. So that is how I always advise clients. I would never take a case where I believe that the consequences of losing it will be extremely devastating for the person, right? There are situations when people didn't choose and they ended up in removal proceedings. Let's say there was a raid, a person was stopped, somebody filed for asylum unsuccessfully and was placed in removal proceedings. So these are different situations. I'm talking about people who've never been in removal proceedings and now they're figuring out how they can fix their status. And they've heard that if they're in immigration court, there is this 10-year green card. What they're usually referring to is 10 years cancellation of removal, right? You have to be in the United States for 10 years. You have to be you have to be a person of good moral character. You should not be having a removal order that interrupted this 10 years, and you should have a qualifying relative to whom you can establish extreme hardship in case of your removal. So this is something that is available for people in removal proceedings. But again, I never say that, why don't you go and try it? Because I know that you can be denied, okay? Now, guys, if you have questions, welcome. Please type them up. And don't forget to share this live so more people will join us, and type up your questions. So in the end of my presentation, I will refer to them. One more thing I wanted to talk to you about. So since we do not have, hopes for swift immigration reform, it's important to know something is important for those of you guys who are in asylum backlog to know. 2016 cases are being called for the interview and are being called, at least in New York, with a significant notice. I had received recently several notices for asylum interviews for people who filed their cases in 2016, and we receive about 2 months notice, advance notice for the interview. It's quite unusual, I would say. Usually the notice is much shorter, I would say a month, but it gives you a good opportunity to prepare your case for the interview. You filed your case 5, 6 years ago, 7, right? Country conditions could have changed. You have to update your country conditions when you go for that interview. That's number one. Number two, you may bring additional evidence, perhaps evidence of your social media posts or participation in protests, or perhaps your loved ones in your home country received threats. Maybe you received threats, right? Different things could have changed. Maybe something changed. Maybe a criminal case was opened against you and you're not even there. All that new evidence you should prepare before the interview. I also would advise you highly to get a country conditions expert report if you're going to be going for that interview after such a big interval between the time you filed your case and between the time you called. So these are the points I wanted to share with you. Thank you very much for joining me. And I'm going to stop my live on my TikTok. Thank you, guys. Let me see. But for my YouTube viewers and my Facebook, we're going to continue. So let me now answer you guys' questions. Thank you for staying with me while I did not have sound. Why not, right? Thank you guys very much for asking how I'm doing. Today I'm doing great. It's unbelievable. Yesterday was a very different day. All right. Hi, Fana. Hi, Mars. Hi, Sampath. Let's see. Thank you, guys. Thank you. All right. All right. Let's see. Hi, ma'am. Hi, Simran. My asylum interview complete, but my decision is pending. Can you explain? Absolutely. Simran, there is USCIS Asylum Office statistics. And actually, in that statistics, they admit that they aim to give decisions as soon as asylum interview takes place. But reality is very different. About 30% of cases, if I'm not mistaken, get stuck in the backlog. Sometimes people call me, and unfortunately, they've been waiting for their decisions for years, not just several months. I had a case where a person called me and he said that 2 years, it took him 2 years to get the decision. So yes, it can happen. What I would advise you to do, if about 45 days passed and you do not have the decision, your lawyer should follow up with asylum office. If much more time passed and you still do not have the decision, then you perhaps should ask for the congressman's help, okay, to speed up your case. All right. Hi, JD14. Let me put it on. My VAWA was approved last year. I sent my I-45 May 2022, June file was updated, and August case was transferred to National Benefit Center. And October 16 case shows up for taken, and when can I expect interview and medical? Well, if you filed your I-45 only in May of 2022, I say that you should be waiting for at least a year. I do not want to scare you, but people who submitted their I-45s 3 years ago sometimes are still waiting, despite the fact that their VAWA is approved. So first of all, by the way, congratulations on your VAWA being approved. You know, it means that your lawyer, you did a great job, right? And I'm sorry that you had to go through the abuse that USCIS found, because VAWA means that you were abused, right? But if I had to guess as to when your case is going to be resolved, I would say that at least a year, okay? VAWA cases rarely are called for an interview, just so you know, all right? Usually what's going to happen is that you're going to receive a notice to present your medical exam. Thank you, Jazim. All right. Yes, a lot of people had forward taken in all over US 16 and some good RFEs, some interview. Yes, usually the VAWA cases are not called for the interview. VAWA cases are called for the interview if there are some inadmissibility questions that a USCIS officer needs to decide. For example, fraud at entry, fraud at when previously you filed some immigration work, so that may cause it. All right. Hi, Mangal, good night. Can you please tell me if you are a US citizen, how long will it take to sponsor your married children? Married children would take to sponsor, depending, of course, on the country you're from. But hopefully you're not from one of those backlogged countries. About 10 years, usually it takes 10 years. You can refer to the visa bulletin to get more accurate information and check which priority dates are current. Okay, visa bulletin. Hi, Mr. Patel. Give me answers this time, please, for my question. 25 years ago, someone have deported for human trafficking immigration case. So they have any chance to come and stay with his son and daughter if they're US citizens. And of course, I think you are feeling well. Thank you, Mr. Patel. All right. If the person was deported for human trafficking, I am afraid that the only way they will be able to come back if they will file and be granted a non-immigrant visa with a non-immigrant waiver. This is my quick answer, okay? That's what I think, all right? Just to come and visit and get that non-immigrant waiver granted. But I would suggest that you consult with an attorney or your relative consults with an attorney to look at the paperwork, look at the grounds for deportation. But that's what I think is going to happen. Okay, if there is any chance, that would be the chance. And 25 years ago is a significant time, of course, but you also need to know that criminal grounds of inadmissibility never expire, all right? Criminal grounds. And you guys also need to know one interesting thing about immigration in the United States. One and the same occasion can result in various grounds of inadmissibility or deportability to be applied against a person. It's very important to understand that. Recently, someone online asked me about human trafficking smuggling waiver. The problem with smuggling charges is it was criminal charge. It's also regarded an aggravated felony. Aggravated felony is a separate ground for inadmissibility. Then there is smuggling, crime of smuggling. This is another ground of inadmissibility. So one and the same occasion may result in several grounds of inadmissibility. It's very important to know that if you're planning your applications, petitions, so you need to be ready for this. All right. Hi, Oksanka. Alena, do you know situations when immigration judge closes a case without prejudice and gives an opportunity to apply for USCIS interview? Is it possible to get asylum from USCIS? I came without visa. Guys, if you were already in removal proceedings and your case was closed, right? Usually you will not qualify for asylum. Why? Well, because what happens, that's usually, all right? Why? Because usually you would ask for asylum first. If you lose, you're going to end up in removal proceedings, and then removal proceedings is going to be closed. It means that you cannot ask for asylum second time. So that's what I think is going on, but I can be wrong, right? What if you never asked for asylum before, and this is going to be your first time? And why are you asking for asylum? Perhaps country conditions changed, and then you will be excused 1 year filing deadline. So maybe something like this. But for me to tell you exactly, I need to see your paperwork, not to make a mistake, okay? But usually there is a presumption that you can ask for asylum only once, and if you were in court, you have to go back to court. Do you deal in the high Shar, do you deal in US visitor visa? Yes. But I usually help guys if there is a denial. Of course, if there is an approval, you don't need a lawyer, right? I can consult you. To get a visitor's visa to the United States, you really don't need a lawyer, okay? Unless you believe that you may be subject to some sort of a ground of inadmissibility. You fill out Form DS-160 online, you go for your appointment, you pay the fee, go for your appointment. That's how it's done, all right? But you don't need a lawyer for that. Some people believe that they need an invitation. You don't need an invitation. There is no requirement that someone has to write an invitation. Usually, if you invite your friend or invite your family member, you would write a letter. But I guarantee you that consul in 99% of cases is not even going to look at it, okay? Just so you know. Hi, Lucy. What about withholding of removal proceedings and asylum? Withholding of removal is usually given to people who could not qualify for asylum because they missed 1 year filing deadline. And withholding of removal, unlike asylum, can be granted only in court. But if you give me some more information, maybe I'm going to give you a better answer. All right. Hi, Andrea. What do you think might have with TPS for Central Americans? Can Biden extend it? Honestly, I believe it will be extended. I don't think that country conditions in Central America improved to the point that there is a justification to take away TPS. I don't think so. You can watch a Department of State announcements. Actually, any one of you guys can sign up for updates from the Department of State, and sometimes they're very useful, especially for asylum cases. But I don't think that they can take TPS away from any countries that have been designated. That's just my position, you know. All right, and I'm gonna take one more question, guys. Hi, DA Invest. Invest? I'm not sure. If my prosecutorial discretion approved, then can I get work authorization? Not necessarily. Prosecutorial discretion, guys, is just a request for the prosecutor to agree with you. What did you ask? Did you ask for dismissal of your case? Did you ask for motion to reopen? So prosecutorial discretion is a term that describes ability of the government to agree with you when you ask for something. Without knowing what you asked for, I cannot really know if you're going to get a work permit, okay? Usually you would get a work permit if there is prosecutorial discretion involved, if you administratively close your case in court, okay, opposed to dismissal. Then yes, and you have asylum pending, then you can get the prosecutorial discretion. All right. Last question. That's it. Movie Time Studio. Hi. My wife have final order of removal from asylum case denied. BIA appealed was denied. I'm a US citizen. We've been married 12 years, have kids. What can I do for her? Motion to reopen based on sua sponte authority of the Board of Immigration Appeals. But you have to do a very good job. It's actually, I love those cases. We have success with those cases. If you would like, please contact me, book a consultation. We're going to review your documents and hopefully we'll be able to help you. What happens in this particular type of cases is that statutory, meaning under the law, right, motions cannot be filed. They will be denied usually. Why? Because time passed. Motion to reopen usually should be filed within 90 days, sometimes within a year, depending on the grounds and so on and so forth, or within reasonable time after country conditions in the country from which you ask for asylum changed. But if a person who was subject to an order of removal now is married to a US citizen, you have a chance to file that motion to reopen. If you can show, at least in my practice, if you can show hardship, all right? But we also need to know if your spouse is adjustable. Let's say the motion to reopen is open. Does your spouse have all elements that would qualify her for adjustment of status otherwise, right? We need to check that. We also need to check if any grounds of inadmissibility may be applied to your spouse, especially in connection with asylum filing. So I'll be happy to check and see what we can do, or you can go to a different lawyer. It's up to you, but you need to be asking about motion to reopen. Well, guys, thank you very much for joining. Thank you for support. Thank you for sharing this stream. It was a pleasure to see you all, and stay connected. Don't forget to follow my channel, and I hope to see you soon.